Joseo, Halito. Trying out this new app to go live. We'll see if this is actually workable. Wanted to talk about the Moor confusion. Now, when I obtained this book last year, and I was surprised that it fell open to kaput, not even spelled as anything we recognize, because that's how much language and historically things have changed. So if you're using books that are recent, that have been written after 1831, there's an agenda behind all the information that's been put out pretty much after the 1800s. The agenda is to eradicate the Negro Indian and to put us somewhere else, because they don't want the Negro Indian to know where they come from. Now, understand that we have been invaded for over 200 years. And, a lot of information had been lost. A lot of people's lives were changed tremendously. A lot of people had immigrated or invaded our continent. Many wars had been fought. Many people had died. It wasn't that we're just susceptible to disease. We're not sickly ass people. Understand that the contradiction of things is that, we're told in our history is all a bunch of lies. Understand that if you actually believe the historic rendition that's given to us in schools, which we need to immediately get all the lies ratified that have been told about the history of the Negro American Indians, that the lying needs to stop at once. Because it's become so evident that the African American is not from Africa, that even the Moors, who acted as if the us American Indians were just wannabes and didn't want to be African, they are claiming to be American Indian now, which I don't even know how you can conceive of saying that you're somebody who you were attacking 6 months earlier. How can you conceive of claiming that you are a Indian now when you thought that the whole idea was ridiculous, okay? And that this was Morocco. But now the whole Moroccan thing is not working anymore. As a instrument, as a tool, as a mechanism for rights and for freedom, the Moorish instrument, the Moorish identity, Moorish nationalism is no longer a valid instrument or tool or weapon or whatever you want to call it. Understand that it is amazing and tremendous that Noble Drew Ali was able to conceive, probably not on his own, some people say there were others before him, of this as a mechanism to protect the Negro. That's all it is. There were no African Americans in 1890s or whenever, Noble Drew Ali in the early 1900s, when this was conceived of, when the Moorish temple was conceived of. I'm not a Moorish fan. I don't understand their obsession. However, I do understand, and I have made sure to meditate and to communicate with Noble Drew Ali, because I wanted to know whether he was a villain or not. And my sense and the outcome of that has been that I came to the very assured conclusion that Noble Drew Ali was no villain. He was a very good man, a very wise man, a very intelligent soul, and he's still, of course, ever present. However, he is shocked that this mechanism that he contrived is still in effect in 2020, or it wasn't effective as of 2019. As of 2020, the whole Moorish temple thing is not working. So now you have a bunch of Moors who are really not Moors, because it's a mechanism. I mean, it worked. It was a great plan, okay? And why did it work? Let's talk about first of all, why did he do it? Let's just back up to why did Noble Drew Ali conceive of the Moorish temple and create the organization and create the identity? Well, the first reason, and I'm telling you just because I'm intuitive and I'm gifted and I'm able to communicate on a level with people that have with the ancestors, and I did make an effort to reach out to Noble Drew Ali, and I noticed, like, I know I'm breathing. Okay, so I know that he knew what it was like. He had the fortunate he had an unfortunate beginning in that his parents were, he was, lost his parents, but he had a fortunate beginning in that his grandparents took him in, and he was an American Indian, and he had grandparents who were able to claim that status. Whereas in the 1900s or late 1800s, many of us had already lost or even just kind of veered away from even claiming the status because of some of the negative hassles and stuff that came along with being claiming Indian. They made it so hard, especially if you were a Negro in appearance, to benefit from that status, that a lot of people were just like, well, I'll just be colored, or I'll just be whatever, I'm just going to keep working, because we always keep working, we keep plugging, we keep working, we keep striving, we keep achieving, we keep developing, we keep inventing. That's what the Negro of America does. That's what the Negro Indians do. Now, this whole thing about all these Africans being shipped on ships and we mixed in, and it never happened. Now, the Moors want to still believe that they are African. They want to still believe in the mixing of the Africans, or we come from Africa. They want to believe all that stuff. But then they want to take all that Moorish belief system and push it in on our history. Now, it makes no sense to go back thousands of years when you haven't even addressed the last 400. It just doesn't make any natural sense. The Moors are trying to go back to, I don't know, dinosaur age. People are talking about when the whole landmass. We don't even know if that's true, because first of all, a lot of the history that we've been told has been just a make-believe fairy tale. It is not factual. So because we weren't there, and going back thousands of years is a lot to do, let's deal with our ancestors and the 400 or so years we can actually deal with. Let's deal with the 1500s on. That makes more sense than anything. Well, the Moors, Noble Drew Ali was actually able to live as an Indian on a reservation and had the dual citizenship status, which a lot of us had in the 1800s. Okay. But then that was even that little bit of freedom and opportunity was actually removed from us. And so you had to be white in appearance to claim you're Indian. You had to have straight hair, you had to be light, you had to be whatever. They declassified us from our own identities by saying that we weren't us. By saying they had the right to tell us who we were. I know it sounds crazy, but that is the truth. So, with that being the case, Noble Drew Ali was like, look, okay, so the Moors have been all over the world. The Moors have a relationship of respect with the United States. Maybe we can take ourselves and be a nation unto ourselves outside of the United States by coming back in as the Moorish nation. It makes so much sense. But Moors, even from his conception, wasn't that America was Moors, is that he was riding on the fact that he was working with the politics. And the politics of the world is that you Negroes are not from America. Okay? That's what has to be the narrative, because that's why the 1619, that's the Kuwai Kunta Kinte was green lighted and all that root stuff. That's why African American became the name that we're being called, simply because of the fact that this cannot be our homeland. If this is our homeland and we are the original people of this land, it changes everything. And we could actually go back and say, look, Spain, England, Finland, Newfoundland, or whatever, Germany, whoever, Italy especially, all these different places that actually stole from us, we will be able to say, hey, look, what you do, where's our stuff?